All right. So I did not plan on going live today. And really I shouldn't have gone live. So I have to keep this short. I have to keep it as short as possible. I'm being worked so much at my job that I'm losing out on a lot of sleep. So this is one of those days where shortly after I got home, I took a sleep aid. And I'm going to try to get this out of my system before it kicks in. Right? Shout out to everybody who's able to join me. ABQ, Andrew, Mac in the house, Isabel. I make everything remains raw. Right? Busta Rhymes quote saying, Serena, how many of y'all read about this? They're keeping us updated with this story. This is a story of a dog attack I reported on, I think, about a year ago. I think it's toward the end of last year this took place, end of 2021. And we just got some more updates on this story that I want to deal with real quick. I have to see how there's a video for it. And there's a little video attached. I watched the video, became infuriated, and here I am. Mr. Payne, Ashar in the building. All right, let's get into it. Andrew, anybody else I may have forgotten?
Jack Liz, smiling and happy, a 10-year-old boy with his whole life before him. Today, his mum Emma came to court with her family to try and get some kind of justice for the boy they loved. Brandon Hayden and Amy Salter had already pleaded guilty to being in charge of a dog dangerously out of control. This was the dog called Beast.
Oh, my goodness. Now, I had to stop there because they said these people were charged for being in charge of a dog that was dangerously out of control. That's the whole point. The point of having a pet is that even if it goes dangerously out of control, it's still not dangerous. Nutters, you brainless, dumb nutters. You're a wacko. You're a bunch of whack jobs. I'm sorry. Look, I admire the talents of many of you dog lovers. I'll be the first to admit that. There are a lot of things that a lot of you do that I'm amazed by. But if you also have this mentality attached to that, boy, I will not want to be around you just because of this. I don't care what type of talent you have. It's not enough to make me want to come inside of your home and deal with this. Again, what makes this dangerous is that if the dog decides to go dangerously out of control, everybody's in danger, which makes the creature unfit to be a pet. These mutants. Oh my, these things look like demons from hell. From hell. Look at the eyes. Totally soulless. Can't feel anything. Don't even talk about love. When you're referencing to something this soulless, these things are so soulless you could see it in their eyes. They don't even have the slightest capacity to love or feel anything. You out of your mind? You out here putting your kids in danger for these things? Sacrificing their safety for these soulless, evil monsters? And if they become aggressive, well, everybody is in grave danger, especially the kids. But they're safe to be family friendly, to be in everybody's home, fill up the whole neighborhood with them. You're a bunch of whack jobs, man. I'll argue anybody. That's my opinion. But I will argue it as fact. And I will push it as fact. I will stand on it as fact. If any of you psychologists or whatever, any of you experts have the nerve to debate me on it, I will debate you on that. Dog lovers, especially owners of these pit bulls and these other law, you are out of your minds. You have a mental problem. You're mentally unhealthy. I will argue that.
Dog called Beast. Brandon Hayden had only taken him on 5 days before he attacked Jack Liz.
Had that mutt for 5 days. Keep that in mind. Only had this worthless, lifeless mutt for 5 days.
On the 3rd of November last year, he asked Amy Salter to look after the dog for a short period. Look how strong the dog is. It's an American or XL bully breed, and it weighed just under 100.
That's what I'm talking about right here. You better know a deranged creature when you see one. You see all these people, a bunch of people walking by? Y'all notice that? How a bunch of people decided to walk by anyways. They decided to pretend like they're not afraid. This dog lunged at a child. Lunging at everybody. Look at how close that person walks. Why did you walk that close, you idiot? Trying to show that they are not afraid of dogs. This is what I'm talking about right here. They're fought, and this is in the UK. But this same spirit is here in the United States, where people want to prove that they're not afraid of dogs. They want to prove that there's nothing wrong with them. People view it as you having a mental disorder when you don't want to get close to dogs. If when you see a dog, you walk in a circle around it. Oh, what's wrong with you? Oh, you got mental problems. You got xenophobia. Do not listen to a bunch of lunatics try to pass judgment on your mental state when you make a logical attempt to keep yourself safe. I mean, just that in and of itself should let you know that it's foolish to fall into or buy into this idea that you got a mental problem because you don't want to be around dogs. A lot of these people who are walking all close to this mutt, they was trying their best not to look scared because they feel like they get laughed at. The people would, and this dog jumped up and this mouth is open right now. Bit that woman's look like her purse or something. And this idiot right here think it's so funny that he just stands out in front of the, what is it, a library or something? Out in front so that it could lunge at any and everybody who walks by. This is a lunatic. A lunatic in charge of a mutant that's also mentally deranged. Again, no other animal behaves like this. No other animal acts this eager to attack someone and invade their personal space. That's not normal animal behavior. That is a creature that deserves to be exterminated, that needs to be exterminated ASAP. And they think it's cute. You know, it's such a sign of primitiveness to incorporate creatures like this into your very culture as family members. What a lowly, savage, disgusting, primitive culture that is. And that is what the era is we're living in today, where the savageness, the primitiveness of the culture is being called out, as it should have been a long time ago, not just in this country, but all around the world. The inhumanity, the subhuman nature of this culture has got to go. It's got to go. You don't embrace clearly mentally deranged creatures like this as no different from a 2-year-old, which means you can bring them around 2-year-olds. In fact, that's the first thing you should do when you bring a newborn home from the hospital, is bring them around one of these things. You really have to be a bunch of sick lunatics. And you see that girl who got charged? She's right here laughing after the dog lunged at this man. He asked her to keep the dog for him. That's that woman. And this is how these nutters are. They think it's funny when a dog lunges at someone. When they see a person back up. When they see a person scared. They get off on that. They think it's hilarious. And that's almost exclusively why they do it. And for attention. Laughs at other people's expense. That's a true nation of narcissists. And I'm telling you, here in the United States, and maybe very well in the UK, they glorify narcissistic personalities when it's actually nothing but pure subhuman savagery, primitive savagery that you should feel ashamed of. Nasty, disgusting, inhumane fools. And they don't care about nobody. They're even willing to bring these disgusting, deadly beasts around their babies. What a low-life scumbag, dirtbag you have to be to bring one of these mutants into your home around your babies. Yes, this is the truth. I'm sorry. I've been playing this thing with no volume. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have gone on a tirade just then. I want y'all to absorb this broadcast.
It's an American or XL bully breed Salter to look after.
This is where we stop.
November last year, Brandon Hayden had only taken him on 5 days before he attacked Jack Liz on the 3rd of November last year. He asked Amy Salter to look after the dog for a short period. Look how strong the dog is. It's an American or XL bully breed and it weighed just under 100 pounds or nearly 7 stone. Brandon Hayden can hardly control it. In the following days, Beast would jump up at a number of people and children outside the local shops. Here, Amy Salter watches as the dog bites a man as he comes out of the shop. Brandon Hayden dismissive at first and asks the man to show him the bite. The court heard that on the day of the attack, Hayden walked Beast and returned him at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Not long after, Jack Liss went into the house where the dog was. He stroked Beast's head, but the dog jumped up at him and pushed him to the floor and began to attack him. A neighbour came to help and eventually a crowd gathered around the house. Among them were Jack's parents. In her impact statement...
Okay, so unprovoked. The boy rubbed the dog on the head, walked away. When he walked away, the dog attacked him.
Went to the court. Jack...
He rubbed the dog on the head just like the adults taught him to do.
Jack's mum, Emma Whitfield, said, "No mum should ever have the last images of their child as being dragged from a house, knowing deep down they're gone, but praying that it isn't so." Jack's injuries were so severe that he died at the scene. Hayden and Salter were arrested the next day.
And you notice they do this in the UK. After a dog attack, they'll have a bunch of police just out in the neighborhood. What are you doing? What's that supposed to do? Just in case there's another dog attack nearby, you can get there quicker? Oh, just to make people feel safe. How they gonna feel safe? They got dogs inside their home and you standing outside. Some safety you providing there, buddy. This is stupid. Especially when you hold it up alongside the laws that make it legal to own these things. Any and everybody. No matter what type of mental illnesses you may have, anybody can own these things.
Died at the scene. Hayden and Salter were arrested the next day. Sentencing the pair.
You see what I'm saying? When you got laws that endanger people to that extent, to have some policy where you stand out in the neighborhood after a dog attack, that is stupid. Wow.
Were arrested the next day. Sentencing the pair, Judge Michael Fitton QC said he had no doubt that the incident would weigh heavily on their minds for the rest of their lives, but he felt that both should have known that a more serious attack by the dog was likely.
No, and it's still likely. Because you still got a bunch of dogs out in the neighborhood just like that one, idiots. Do you notice how there's no pause in the dog attacks? If you're talking about something like fathers who on a steady basis or who kill their kids, let's say a father who kills their kids, you don't hear about stuff like that on a consistent basis. It's not a daily thing. You can't go a full week without hearing about dog attacks like this. And really, you can't go a full day. You can't compare this to anything else. You know how these nutters say, well, anybody can turn violent. These things have a pattern of consistency. This so basically etched in stone, it's guaranteed to happen. It's guaranteed that there will be no moment of peace. Not even in the United States alone. You can't go a whole day with no dog attacks. That means my whole point is they're the perfect candidates to be exterminated, to be taken out based on what they're wired and bred for. And let's start with the bully breeds. That's the only thing that makes sense.
Brandon Hayden was jailed for 4.5 years. Amy Salter was given a 3-year sentence. Today, Jack's mum, Emma, gave her reaction outside court.
I'm without my son. I'm without his smiles, his stories, his presence. Nothing will ever make up for what this has done to our family. Jack laughed, he played, he told jokes. He deserved to live more of a life than this. Our love will continue to stay strong. So much has been taken from us. Now we must live our life sentence without such a beautiful boy.
You know what? The true test of how advanced or intelligent you are is in the type of laws you make. Not in the little technology, not in some little gadget that you have the ability to create and, oh, look, isn't that neat? That might be creativity. That's not intelligence. And it's not an example of being evolved. It's an example of being primitive. If you live in a country that has enough money to exterminate dogs, they should be exterminated. If you are truly a people of high morals, if you're truly civilized and advanced, nobody would be able to own these things because they pose far too much of a risk to your youth. And no matter what, there's nothing you can say to refute this. The primary display or example of being advanced and intelligent, the greatest sign is seen in the steps you take to protect your youth. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no round table debate about that. If you're truly intelligent, it will be seen in the steps you take to keep your young safe. That's the very first sign and the most powerful sign of intelligence. And these nutter nations are not even on that level, which again, like I always say, places them beneath wild animals. Anywhere, that includes my home country. I've never left the United States. We have a culture that is sub-animal, subhuman. It's primitive, disgusting, and even wild animals have a more upright, intelligent, civilized culture. That falls into just being civilized, people. These wild animals are more civilized than us. The greatest example of being uncivilized is bringing predators around your young. That's a law of nature that nobody's supposed to break, not even other predators. You don't find hyena raising lion cubs or vice versa. Not even predators do this. They all know better than to do something this backwards. And y'all want to flaunt it like it's some type of badge of honor? Oh man, I am so thankful to the laws of the universe coming in full circle. And I'm humbled and honored to play a role in eradicating this filthy subhuman culture that violates our laws of nature right on its face. It is an honor and a pleasure. You nasty freaks. How dare you? And then you want to point the finger and laugh at people who don't want these things around and don't want to be around them? What a joke. What a joke. Shout out to everybody who's able to join me for this brief live stream. We hate dogs. Chef Mutt Meat in the building. Chef just uploaded a very funny video. Y'all might want to check that out. Right? Most definitely. I should have shared it. Very funny video. Mutt Free World in the building. Equator 7. Good to see you again. I hate cars. Oh, I need to check my email. I'm sorry, people. If you sent emails, please give me time. I'm working just a whole lot of hours and I'm so exhausted. Even after I get home, I'm so exhausted. But I will check my emails. I hate cars, right? Big shout out to you. Slime Creeper, big shout out to you. Neon, Dion, Lala. All right. Glad you all could join me in this short little rant, and I hope to see you all again on the next live stream as we continue with this crusade.